There is a time for everything under the sun, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to sow, a time to reap. But there are signs, signs that whisper before the storm, signals etched in the sands of time, warnings hidden in the fabric of our daily lives, waiting to be discerned. And today I am led to speak not of nations or kingdoms, but of the human soul and a mystery that comes upon the aged, a shadow that falls not suddenly but subtly, a sign of the approaching veil. There is a moment in the journey of every soul when the hourglass begins its final descent. A year before the passing, the spirit begins to shift. The veil between the temporal and the eternal grows thin. And the signs, oh yes, the signs, are given to those who will watch and discern, not merely for sorrow, but for mercy, for repentance, for peace, for preparation. The first sign is this: the release of the earthly. You will begin to see them let go, not in word, but in spirit. The hands that once held tightly now open. The desires that once burned now cool. That which once brought joy, the objects, the ambitions, the routines no longer hold sway. The garden that was once meticulously tended is left to grow wild. The collection of trinkets once cherished begins to gather dust. The eyes that once sparkled with plans for tomorrow now drift to a distant shore. It is not always conscious, but something in the soul begins to withdraw, like a traveler packing lightly for a final journey. It is as if the soul has begun to ascend even before the body follows. And yet we miss it. We explain it away. They're tired, we say. They're just slowing down. But no, it is more, much more. For there is a divine detachment that precedes the crossing over. The soul knows what the mind does not, and it begins to prepare. The second sign is found in the dreams and visions. Yes, for in the scriptures it is written, your old men shall dream dreams. In the final season, dreams become portals. The elderly begin to speak of people long past. They dream of fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, some long dead. They speak of rooms filled with light, of voices calling, of rivers they must cross. They speak of journeys, reunions, farewells. It is not the rambling of a confused mind, it is the Spirit testifying. Pay attention, the veil is opening. Heaven is drawing near. What they see you may not see, but their spirit is receiving glimpses of home. The eternal is brushing up against the temporal. They may say, I saw my mother last night. Do not scoff, do not dismiss, for it may well be that the Lord has permitted them a glimpse into what lies beyond. These are not dreams to fear, but to honor, for the soul is nearing the shore. And what of the third sign? It is the calling of accounts. The soul begins to reflect, not as memory, but as judgment, not external, but internal. The spirit begins to take inventory. Regrets surface. Apologies, once withheld, are now spoken. Wounds buried long ago are reopened, not to cause pain, but to cleanse, to prepare, to be made whole. You'll see them reach out to old friends. You'll hear them whisper prayers they never prayed before. You'll find them staring into the silence, as if weighing their life on invisible scales, and they are. For it is written that man shall give an account, and the soul knows it. This is not just nostalgia, this is repentance, this is reckoning, this is the mercy of God giving space to make peace before the journey ends. Don't stop them, don't say, don't think about that. No, encourage them, sit with them, listen, pray, for in those moments eternity draws near. Heaven is knocking. This is sacred ground. Let it be holy. And now the fourth sign, it is the shift in time, for the dying begin to speak not of days but of moments. The past and future dissolve, only the now remains. They may repeat the same stories, they may dwell on one memory, but what you must understand is that their spirit is no longer bound by time as it once was. They are beginning to live outside the calendar. The noise of this world fades, and the stillness of eternity beckons. Their appetite fades. Their need for sleep changes. Day and night blur. They begin to rise early or wander the halls in silence. It is not confusion, it is transition. The things of this world lose meaning because the soul is being drawn to another They are not just forgetting, they are remembering something deeper, something older, something eternal. And here we come to the fifth sign, and it is this, the blessing. Yes, the blessing. As Jacob, before he passed, gathered his sons and spoke over each. As Moses, before his ascent to Mount Nebo, poured forth words of life. So too, the elderly in their final season often feel compelled to give something of their spirit, a word, a prayer, a final piece of their soul. They may speak a sentence that marks you forever. They may take your hand and whisper a blessing that seems small but echoes into eternity. They may confess a secret or leave a letter or ask you to remember something. Do not miss it, for these are not just words. They are a legacy, a mantle, a prophetic impartation. Sometimes they bless unknowingly, a look, a tear, a gesture, the last embrace. But heaven is in it. The breath of the eternal is in it. For just as the patriarchs blessed before they passed, so the Spirit still moves the aged to speak life before they step through the veil. And so I tell you, watch, be alert. Do not mourn, only prepare, for the signs are given not to bring dread, but to bring mercy, to awaken, to ready, to sanctify. The world will tell you to ignore it, to medicate it, to cover it. But the Spirit says, behold, for there is glory even in the passing. There is light in the valley. There is holiness in the last breath. Some will say, but why should we see these signs? What does it matter? I tell you, it matters. Because every soul is sacred, and every departure is a doorway, and every sign is a summons to love deeper, forgive quicker, speak truth, and prepare hearts. In the end, we are all passing through, but God in his mercy gives signs, like the prophets who saw the storm clouds before the rain, like the watchmen on the wall who saw the enemy afar off, like the wise men who saw the star. These signs are not for fear, they are for the faithful, that we may know the hour and not be caught unaware. So if you see them, these 5 signs, do not turn away. Draw near, pray, speak life, speak love, be present. This is the time of honoring, the time of holiness. The final year is not only the end, it can be the beginning. For the soul that is ready, death is not loss, it is gain, not darkness but dawn, not a closing but a homecoming. And if the signs have come to your house or will come, know that it is not death that is coming, but destiny, not the grave, but glory. And every sign is a whisper from heaven. Prepare the way of the Lord, make straight his path. Yes, the world may scoff. The medical books may explain, but those who walk with the Spirit know something deeper is happening. The time is short, the journey is holy, the King is near. For as it was in the days of the prophets when the Lord spoke not in thunder alone, but in the still, small voice, so too in these days he speaks through the quiet signs, through the hush before the parting of the veil. What appears to the world as weakness, as fading as the winding down of a clock, is to the discerning a preparation for glory. The outer man wastes away, but the inner man is being renewed day by day. This is a man of glory to serve as a model. When the outer man is being renewed day by day, the one whose body falters may be the one whose spirit rises. What looks like decline may in fact be ascension. Consider this mystery. Why does the elderly soul begin to grow silent? Why do their words slow, their conversation shorten, their presence become still? It is because the soul has begun listening more than speaking, listening for the voice beyond the veil, listening for the call of the shepherd, listening for the trumpet that sounds not in this realm, but in the one to come. There are moments when they seem to gaze beyond you, to stare at something invisible. Do not think it is confusion. No, sometimes it is recognition. They see what we cannot. The eyes of flesh are fading, yes, but the eyes of the Spirit are opening. And the atmosphere around them begins to change. The room where they lie becomes different. A weight descends and yet a peace. The world outside moves on. Cars pass, clocks tick, lights shine, but inside, time slows. Heaven draws near. The boundaries between the natural and the supernatural begin to dissolve, and those who are spiritually awake can feel it. The air grows thick with eternity. Some may feel it in dreams, some may sense it in prayer. You may walk into the room and suddenly feel you've stepped onto holy ground. Do not rush through those moments. Pause. Be still. For you may be standing in the presence of a soul being drawn upward, a life preparing to meet its maker. In the ancient days, when a king prepared to leave this world, he would give final decrees, last instructions, solemn blessings. And so too do the elderly in their final season take on the aura of royalty. They are not to be dismissed or ignored. The culture may push them aside, may render them invisible, but the Spirit of God marks them as precious, as vessels of wisdom, as bearers of final messages. The enemy has tried to steal the dignity of the aged. He has tried to make death a thing of terror and horror. But in truth, for the righteous, death is not a curse, it is a coronation. It is not the end, it is the entrance. And the year before death is not merely decline, it is preparation, it is sanctification, it is the soul putting its house in order. There are moments when they speak words that pierce through the noise of life. They may suddenly offer a truth, a phrase, a story you've never heard before, and it lingers in your spirit. That's not just nostalgia, it's prophetic. Their words carry weight because they are spoken with eternity pressing behind them. And you may find that in that final year, the soul is drawn to light. They may wish to sit in the sun. They may ask to see the stars. They may long to be near open windows, to hear the sound of wind in the trees. It's not just comfort they seek, it is remembrance. The soul begins to yearn for the elements it was created from: dust and wind, light and water, the touch of creation that echoes the voice of the Creator. Their soul is returning to the beginning, even as it approaches the end. Some may begin to speak of home, but not the home of wood and brick. No, they speak of a deeper home, a longing, a rest that this world cannot give. It's the same longing the apostle spoke of when he said, "We desire to be clothed with our heavenly dwelling." They speak of going home, not because they wish to leave us, but because their spirit has begun to glimpse what lies ahead. That city with foundations, whose builder and maker is God. And in that final year, many elderly people begin to reconcile. They reach out to the estranged. They forgive debts. They soften their judgments. They put down old offenses. You may see them write letters to those they once could not speak to. That is no accident. That is the Spirit moving them to make peace, because no soul can carry bitterness across the threshold. It must be released. And the Lord, in His mercy, gives space for this sacred work to be done. You see, the final year is not merely about the approach of death. It is a season of redemption, a season of restoration, a season of deep spiritual work. Heaven is not silent during this time. It is profoundly active. Angels minister, prayers ascend, the Holy Spirit broods. God does not abandon the dying. He draws near. And often those who are near the end begin to speak in paradoxes. They talk of being ready to go, yet afraid to leave. They speak of both joy and sorrow. They weep without cause and laugh without explanation. These are not contradictions. They are the soul wrestling with two worlds at once. They are still here, but already beginning to be there. And the tension of that transition creates a sacred beauty, a fragile, trembling wonder. There is wisdom here for all of us, for what is happening to them is a mirror of what will one day happen to us. The signs we see in them are signs we will one day bear ourselves. Their journey is our prophecy. Their passage is our preview. And to walk with them through it is not just to witness death, it is to learn how to live. If we are wise, we will not run from these moments. We will enter them. We will gather close. We will open our ears. We will hold their hands. We will ask them what they see, what they hear, what they remember. And we will find that in those final days, they are not empty, but full, not ending, but overflowing. And some, even in their frailty, will begin to shine. There is a light that comes upon the face of the faithful in their final season. It is not natural, it is supernatural. It is the beginning of the glorification that awaits them. You may see it in the eyes, a depth, a clarity, a peace. It is as if heaven is already beginning to be reflected in their countenance. This is not imagination, it is the Spirit bearing witness. And there are moments, yes, there are moments when the Lord himself draws so close to the dying that even the atmosphere bears his presence. I've heard of it, I've seen it, I've felt it. A weight, a silence, a holiness. And suddenly all things fall away. The news doesn't matter, the clock doesn't matter, the world pauses because heaven has entered the room. That final year is filled with secrets, and if we walk with them in it, if we listen, if we pay attention, we will find treasures hidden in the field, wisdom spoken in whispers, truths released only in passing, and we will be changed by it. There is even more, for in that last season, the soul often blesses in unexpected ways. They may lay hands on you in prayer. They may speak words over your future without even realizing it. They may transfer a mantle. Do not underestimate the power of a dying person's final words, for the Spirit often moves most powerfully in the end. As Elijah passed his mantle to Elisha in the moment of departure, so too can the aged pass something divine in their final breath. Sometimes their presence alone is the blessing. Just being near them, sitting in silence beside them brings healing. It realigns the soul. It reminds you of eternity, that this life is not all there is, that our days are numbered, but our destiny is infinite. So do not be afraid of the signs. Do not hide from them. Embrace them. Let them teach you how to live. Let them teach you how to forgive. Let them teach you how to hope. The final year is not just for the dying, it is for the living. It is a gift. A window in which things can still be said, tears can still be shed, love can still be spoken. Don't wait for the funeral to say what must be said. Speak now, embrace now, be present now. Because when that final breath is drawn and the soul departs, you will wish for one more moment, one more word, one more hour. But for now, you still have it. The signs are not just warnings, they are invitations. Invitations to love deeply, to walk gently, to prepare your own soul, and to be awakened to what truly matters. And know this, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted. He walks beside the dying. He does not abandon his children in the valley. The same God who was with them in the womb is with them in the end. The same hand that formed them in secret holds them in their final hour. The shepherd who led them through green pastures will carry them home. And the signs, they are his mercy. They are his love. They are his whisper before the trumpet sounds. And even in their silence, they speak. Even when the lips grow still, the soul continues to bear witness. You may hear nothing, but heaven hears everything. The quiet groan of the Spirit, the final longing of the heart, it ascends like incense, and God remembers. There are prayers prayed in the last days that carry more weight than a lifetime of utterances, because they come from a soul on the edge of eternity, from a heart laid bare, stripped of all pretense. When the strength is gone and only the Spirit remains, that is when truth speaks clearest. There is a sacredness in the touch of the aged hand, a history wrapped in each line, each wrinkle, each scar. You hold it, and you're not just holding skin and bone. You're holding generations, sacrifices, love, pain, victory, and it humbles you because you realize you are the continuation of that story. You are the next chapter. And in their last year, that story is being entrusted to you, not just through words, but through presence, through the simple act of abiding. And as the body weakens, the spirit may grow fierce. You'll see it in their eyes, a final flash of fire, a boldness that rises up. They may speak truths they never dared speak before. They may confront what was always avoided. It is as if the soul, knowing it has little time left, no longer fears the consequences. It only longs to be free, to be honest, to be real. And what comes forth in those moments is purer than gold. Do not be offended. Do not be afraid. Listen, for it is the raw voice of the soul. And sometimes there is joy, pure, unexplainable joy, laughter that rises without cause, a peace that surpasses understanding. It is not madness, it is not denial, it is the presence of God. For the word says, precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints. Precious, not tragic. And when the soul senses the nearness of the Lord, it cannot help but rejoice. Even when the body fails, the spirit can dance. And that joy, fleeting as it may seem, is a glimpse of eternity, a foretaste of what is to come, a final kiss from heaven before the soul takes flight. So we must not turn away from these signs, nor dismiss them as mere symptoms of age. They are sacred signals, harbingers of the eternal, whispers from the throne of heaven. When the aged begin to withdraw, to remember, to reconcile, to weep, to bless, and to gaze beyond the veil, they are not simply dying, they are being prepared for glory. And we who walk beside them in these final steps are not just witnesses, we are stewards of something holy. Let us honor the signs. Let us cherish the moments. Let us recognize the hand of God even in the valley of shadows. For the final year is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of the greatest chapter yet to come.